Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world. Hello, friends. So, as I said in part one, anger and resentment, when harbored, is a poison that is very destructive. It's destructive to you, your family, and your relationships. I know of many families where the adult children haven't spoken to their parents in years, or where brothers and sisters aren't talking, or even best friends have what they think are irreconcilable differences. One man received a call from the hospital that his mother was dying and wished to see him before she died. And instead of putting past slights aside and rushing to say goodbye to his mother, he ignored her, and she died without closure on their relationship. And in this case, I believe that the resentment by the son was a minor one, and he made a mountain out of a molehill and refused to talk with her for some 20 years. And again, she died without the love of her son. But as much, he'll never have another chance to reconcile with his mother. Unforgiveness, anger, hatred, and resentments are destructive and self-destructive. It turns back on you and grows until it becomes overwhelming, until it destroys your family, friends, and your peace of mind. It consumes you. What I want to do today is review with you the 3 laws of forgiveness. And again, I look at unforgiveness as a disease, but one which falls primarily in the spiritual realm. Let me explain. Forgiveness is a conscious and deliberate decision to release feelings of anger, resentment, or even hatred and vengeance towards a person or people who have harmed you. It's letting go of your anger and especially any need you might have to retaliate. Maybe they insulted you, gossiped about you, betrayed your trust, disrespected you in some way, or maybe even verbally, emotionally, or physically attacked you, but they hurt you in some way, and it doesn't matter if it's a big or small hurt. And your decision to forgive is a decision you make regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness or not. It's a decision you make regardless of whether or not they said they were sorry and apologized. And it's a decision you make whether or not they ask for forgiveness. The act of forgiveness is yours to own, not theirs, and it is not contingent upon anything they may say or do. And this is so important. Nothing destroys relationships like unforgiveness. Nothing destroys families like unforgiveness. Nothing destroys peace of mind like unforgiveness. I've seen it 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. So the first law of forgiveness is to let go of resentment. By the way, resentment means to feel over and over again. It's normal and natural to feel angry if you've been hurt, especially if it's someone that meant to hurt you. But resentment is more than just situational anger. It remains like an echo. It returns to haunt you, maybe even day and night, going over and over the same event again and again, or having the same emotional reaction again and again, sometimes for years, and often letting it build up even to the point that it doesn't reflect, but goes well beyond the original slight. But what resentment really is a poison. It's a poison not just to the other person, not just to a relationship, but a poison to you, a poison that destroys your own sense of health and well-being. And in that regard, resentment is self-destructive. And the only antidote for that negative poison coursing throughout your system is forgiveness, total forgiveness, unconditional forgiveness, letting the resentment go. And that brings us to the second law of forgiveness. Forgiveness heals. It heals us and allows us a transformation into a higher plane of health and wellness. We evolve, and yes, it heals relationships too. And I've also seen thousands of times where forgiveness has actually strengthened relationships after the fact. We've all been hurt in one form or another by a parent, spouse, friend, sibling, co-worker, and so on. But you can't go through life reacting to other people and their stuff. So what other option do you have? Do you really want to go through life and be on your guard at all times, reacting in a defensive posture to protect yourself from every slight and every imagined slight? Or do you adopt a philosophy of freedom, of forgiveness, even to the point that it's automatic without you even thinking about it? And that brings us to the third law. Forgiveness is one of the highest forms of spiritual practice. Jesus taught to forgive no matter what. So St. Peter went up to Jesus one day and said, "Master, my brother has wronged me, but I have forgiven him." But if he wrongs me again, must I forgive him again? How many times should I forgive my brother? As many as 7? And Jesus said, no, not 7, but 70 times 7. In other words, Jesus said that no matter what someone does to you, and no matter how many times, forgive them. And he didn't just say it, he himself practiced it. They spit on him, they mocked him, they slapped him, they whipped, flogged, and scourged him. They forced a crown of thorns on his head, and they crucified him in the most painful, humiliating, and barbaric way to die. But Jesus looked down from the cross and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Even unto death itself, Jesus forgave his betrayers, his torturers, his killers, and he died for them. That's the power of forgiveness. So forgiveness is about goodness, about extending mercy to those who've harmed us, even if they don't deserve it. Forgiveness is about healing a wound, and it's the best way to transform anguish into joy, and it's being the bigger person. And while you may think that forgiveness is for the other person, in reality, it's best for you. Studies have shown that forgiving others produces strong psychological benefits for the one who forgives. It elevates our moods, builds our optimism, builds hope, decreases depression, anxiety, stress, anger, and even the symptoms of PTSD. So we don't just forgive to help others. It's the best thing for everyone in the situation, for everyone, including ourselves. Forgiveness is a superpower, and it's a superpower that we all have if we want to use it. Forgiveness gives us an inner grace, a healing that allows us to let go and transcend hatred instead of allowing it to eat at you. And it removes the toxicity, the poison of resentment, and it's the only thing that can do that. So, one of the biggest lessons we can learn in life is knowing when and how to let something go. We can all get stuck in a place of anger when something bad happens to us or when we feel as if we've been wronged, but staying in that place of anger and harboring that resentment will only hurt us and the people we love even more. And if you find it hard to forgive, well, remember that forgiveness is a process. It doesn't mean that you're a failure at forgiveness. It's a process that may take time and patience, but practice humility and surround yourself with good and wise people who you know can easily forgive others. And soon you'll find that you have a forgiving heart, and it'll be a natural thing for you to do. Do it until it's not a decision, but a lifestyle. Oh, and one other thought. A wise person once said, to forgive and forget, but if you can't do both, then choose one. Hey, be safe, be well, and don't let anger, bitterness, and resentment drag you down. Choose forgiveness over hatred, and may God bless.